What is up, gents? Okay, so today I'm going to be going to crazy depth with the 3x3 method. Now, 26 is around the corner, and I know we've all got crazy goals to achieve. Okay, we set ourselves to ridiculous standards. In order to do so, however, you need to make sure that your systems and your structures are set up. Everything needs to be working for you. You don't want to go into the year setting this goal and then it comes like 2-3 weeks down the line, you say, no, this is too difficult, I can't get this done, and then you end up giving up, because that is what happens most of the time. Most people set these amazing goals, these New Year's resolutions, but then a week, maybe even 4 weeks in, it gets too difficult and they want to give up, right? It's like, let's say, for example, that your goal is to drop 30 pounds of fat. And now this entire festive season, you've taken it easy, you've chilled out, maybe you've made some good progress, right? Throughout the entire of 2025. You've lost a bit of fat, you've picked up muscle, and you've said, you know what? I'm going to give myself a little bit of a break. I'm dropping all of my routines, all of my systems, all of my structures, going completely off meal plan, not doing any training whatsoever. And what tends to happen? 2026 comes, the new year comes, you step on that scale and you're like, what in the hell? All of the progress that you've made just goes straight out the window because you didn't keep the routines and the structures in place. Now, here's the issue. It is so easy to fall out of routine, man. Like, it has happened to me. If I go 3 days where I don't follow my morning routine, where I don't do the things that I'm supposed to do, getting back to it, it's so much more difficult, right? Because your brain starts saying, you know what, it's okay, I can chill out, don't worry about it. Because remember, the brain will always go for something that is more comfortable. The brain will always go for the easiest option. That's another reason why, if this is a new habit that you want to adopt, if it's a new lifestyle that you want to adopt, you need to make sure that you have the right habits in place. And in order to adopt new habits, in order to adopt this new lifestyle, you need to make it as easy as possible, and you need to make it as satisfying as possible, because that is the reason for the 3x3 rule. Man, if I didn't follow this structure, I would come across as one of the most inconsistent people and one of the most undisciplined people. And that's just the thing. That's where it is. Any successful person is successful not because they have ridiculous willpower or they have this crazy discipline. Yes, those things have been built over years by having the correct systems in place. No, people who gain success have got everything working for them. That's the exact reason. So this is going to be up. This video that you guys are watching now will be up before New Year's. My recommendation, what I highly recommend, is you slowly start implementing some of these things. Get a very light morning routine in place. Now, I know a lot of you guys might be going out for New Year's, you might be seeing family, you might start some festive seasons. I get it. You don't want to get there and then all of a sudden all of these hopes and dreams, once again for another year in a row, never solidifies. Okay, that's why I'm going to give you guys all of the source. Now, before I had any of these structures set up, I would go into the day very scattered, right? Very overwhelmed, because I'm extremely busy. I work sometimes 12 hours a day. I've got a lot of things to do. I'm here, I'm there. And if I don't have my things set up, I go into the day like, damn, what do I need to do? If I don't have anything prepped, I'm like, okay, there's not enough time. What am I going to do? I don't feel like cooking. I don't feel like sticking to my meal plan. So what am I going to do? I'm going to get Uber Eats, right? Because that is the default. That is the easiest way out. But that can be completely avoided, and you can stay completely on track if you implement the things within the 3x3 rule. Okay. Same with, sometimes I forget meals. I get so caught up, right, doing work, and then I'll completely skip meals, and then before I know it, it's like, damn, I've only had one meal. Now, is that going to get me where I want to get to? No, of course not. So that's why things like scheduling is so important. Those are the big three things that we're going to talk about. It's going to be planning, it's going to be scheduling, and it's going to be prepping. Because it's not just a meal plan, it's not just a training plan, it's an entire lifestyle change. Okay, it's a mental reframe, and it's building habits that are going to last forever, because there's no point in you dropping 30 pounds. Awesome, you drop 30 pounds of fat, and then what happens? You get completely out of routine, you don't know what to do, and a month down the line, you pick that 30 pounds up. It's so much easier to pick that up, first of all, if you haven't primed your insulin sensitivity and your body's working for you, but not just that, if you haven't adopted the actual lifestyle in order to maintain that. And maintaining that is brilliant. Okay, it becomes very easy once you've got things set up. I mean, look at me. I haven't trained in almost a year, right? Obviously, did the body weight session just the other day, which was like the second one. but I'm not in too bad a shape because I've made sure that all of my other structures and systems are set up. And this exact 3x3 rule, the things implemented within the 3x3 rule have helped dozens of my clients. Guys who felt like they never had enough time, right? Guys who are running businesses, guys who are running multiple businesses. I got heart surgeons in here. I got guys who have just taken over a business, the family business, and that is crazy, right? Guys who are taking 40 calls per day. With the right systems and structures set up, everything is achievable, because at the end of the day, you don't want fitness to just be a hassle. You want fitness, you want the lifestyle to be embedded. You want everything to work for you. And this exact 3x3 rule, it's more than just getting that physique. You can embed this in your day-to-day life. This will help you in so many factors. It will help you with your relationships, and I'll explain that when I go through everything, how it's helped me. And it's going to help you in your business by setting up the correct structures and the right systems. I've literally got guys in this program who have just recently started businesses and have come to me specifically for the mindset aspect of things and the structures aspect of things, because they feel like they are drowning, they feel like they are overwhelmed, and I've been there. Okay, I know exactly what that's like. And you don't want to go in there scattered, because it's just going to drive you to be unmotivated, and it's going to drive you to quitting. So let's make sure that we take 2026 by the balls and implement this ASAP. Let's get into it. All right, gents, now we've got you in the Miro board. Let's absolutely optimize your systems. Make sure that you 100x your productivity, your discipline, and your consistency for 2026 to ensure that you get every single goal. You don't sit there with decision fatigue. You don't get overwhelmed. You don't get scattered. You don't feel like you don't have enough time in the day to get shit done, because you can. But there's always a solution to a problem. So let's get into it. So this is the 3x3 rule, okay? The roadmap to 100xing your productivity, your discipline, and your consistency. So first of all, we're going to go with planning, right? Then we're going to go with scheduling, and then we're going to go with prepping. Now, each of these, there's 3 little subsections that I want you to focus on. So let's go into the planning first. Now, this is obviously the most important. So we want to ensure that everything is planned out. If you don't plan things out, you go into that day not knowing what to do. You're kind of just waltzing around, not getting that shit done. Whereas if you have everything mapped out, to say, okay, this is what I need to do, this is what I need to do, you get it done. Okay. You don't have to think about anything, you're not wasting any time, and that's how that's going to be, right? So priorities. You want to make sure that all of your priorities are done. Okay. So the night before is always going to be the preparation. So let's say for planning your week, okay, you need to make sure that every single Sunday you go, you take a seat, you go get a whiteboard, you do whatever you need to do, you take a pen, you take a paper, you take your notebook, whatever it is, and you need to plan out what are those priorities for the week. What are the things that are going to move you forward? What are the things that are going to take you closer to your goal? And that's for every single aspect. If you've been a shitty boyfriend and you've been slacking on taking your girlfriend out on date night, right? Put that in there. Plan. That is a priority for your business. Okay. What are the things that are going to move you forward in your business? What are the things that you need to get done on that day for your job, whatever it might be? Training. What needs to be done? Okay, I need to get X amount of meals in. I need to make sure that I hit at least 3 to 5 sessions for that week. Those are going to be your priorities. Now, I call it the 555 method. So that's a little bit more complex, where you go 5 big goals that you have in mind and input goals. Remember, focus on the input goals, not the output goals, because the input goals are always going to lead to those output goals. So let's say your goal is to drop 30 pounds. Like, that is your main priority with regards to fitness. Okay. Don't put down, okay, you already know I'm dropping 30 pounds, but that is just a direction. Now that's your compass. You moving toward that. But what is going to get you there? Let's say you're sailing. You still need the sails to work. You need the rudder to work. Those are the input goals. Okay. So that's doing your faster cardio every single morning. That's sticking to your meal plan. That is showing up at the gym. Those are the input goals that are going to take you there. Now, you also want to plan your workouts. Man, before I plan my workouts, same with a lot of my clients as well. You go into the gym and you just like kind of chill on your phone and you listen to a bit of music, you chat shit to a bunch of people, and before you know it, that's like 2.5 hours gone, maybe even 3 hours, because you go in there like, okay, should I do a little bit of chest today? What machine should I do? Oh, that one's full. You see, that's the problem, right? You spend so much time, you waste so much time thinking about what to do. Whereas with what we do is every Monday to Sunday, okay, everything is planned out, everything is structured. There's cycling, the cardio, the midsection control, the ab work, the walking, everything is put in there. And to make it even more efficient, you don't waste any time. You go in, you get out, you get that shit done, you can talk crap afterwards. What do? We make sure that all of the sets are put down, all of the reps, even the resting period. This is how you maximize your time. This is how you maximize your productivity. This is how you stay focused and locked in, and of course, more disciplined. Okay. Now, workouts. That is the split. You want to make sure that you know exactly what split you're following. That split is going to be completely based on what your specific goals are. Let's say you've got a weak point that you want to focus on. That split is going to be entirely based on what that weak point is. Okay. Are you going to be doing chest twice per week? When are you going to be scheduling your cheat meals, right? That's what you need to focus on. How much rest period are you going to have in between each muscle group? And that's the importance of a split, because in order, remember, muscle growth happens during the recovery process. When you go to the gym, you're just stimulating it. Okay, you're tearing the muscle fibers. The real growth happens in between. So that's why it's very important to make sure that you get about 24 to 48 hours, depending on how much protein that you're consuming, depending on how good your sleep is, how good your recovery is, okay? Because you want those muscles to actually grow. Now, then meal plan, extremely important. Same thing. Grocery list is sorted. You don't walk around in the gym. You don't walk around in the shopping center. You see, a lot of us tend to use the excuse of, damn, I don't have enough time. It's because you don't make enough time. If you're spending an hour and a half in the grocery shop, like, think about it. Have you ever gone to the grocery store and you don't have a list and you kind of just like waltzing around like, okay, shit, I gotta get this, I gotta get this. Then you get home and you're like, damn, I completely forgot about that. It's fine, I'll get it next week. Now you're completely missing something out of your meal plan, or you are very committed and you go back to the shop and you just waste even more time. You don't want that, right? We want to try and save things. We want to make things streamlined, work for us. Same with the macro split. That needs to be planned out. You don't have to think about it. You don't need to, right? Weigh your food every single day. You don't need to calculate your macro split on MyFitnessPal every single day. No. If you pre-plan your thing, you say, okay, I need 330 grams of protein, I need 43 grams of fat, and I need whatever grams of carbs, right? 31% grams of carbs. Then you go and you cook that food once for every single day, every single meal. There you have it. You don't have to even think about it. You don't have to use MyFitnessPal. I mean, I remember when I used MyFitnessPal, like, it was probably, I used it for maybe 2 weeks and I absolutely hated it. Having to have track the food and do the calculation, I couldn't stand it. I despise it. So I had to come up with a new way. And coming up with a new way is making sure that everything is planned beforehand. So you go into that week, just all you need to do is heat up the food, and that's that. Okay. You don't even have to think about it. You need to, your high and low days, okay, carb cycling. You guys hear me preach about that all the time. If your goal is to pick up lean muscle mass, right, without the fat, then you need to implement carb cycling. So that's high days, low days. Here you can see it's day 2 out of day 2. So there's a day 1, which will be either the high or the low day, depending on what the program is that I have for my clients. Okay. That is important, because too many of you guys tend to struggle with this, and I struggle with this as well for a long time. A lot of my clients, exact same thing, and that's why they've come with me, come to me, is because anytime you go into a bulk, right, you overeat. You're eating the same amount of calories every single day, the same amount of carbs every single day. But what tends to happen is on those active recovery days, you're not using as much energy. Okay, you're not training as hard. So what does that mean? You don't need that extra fuel. Where does it go? Instead, it goes to be stored as fat. Okay, that's why you have to have high carb days, low carb days. You also need to time your meals properly. Okay, time them. So most of your carbs are going to be had before and after your workout, because that's when your GLUT4 transporters are like at its best. That's when your body's going to be burning through those carbohydrates for energy. It's when it's going to be shuttling those carbohydrates, the proteins and the fats for growth, okay, and for recovery. So that is basically that with the planning. Super simple, super basic, but it will take you to the ultimate next level, guys. Schedule, time blocks. This is what we want to do. I'm talking about time blocks for every single thing. I am someone who's extremely ADHD, right? So I will be like busy with one thing and then something will pop into my head. I'm like, shit, I got to do this. And then something else will pop into my head. I got to do this. Oh, okay, I got to go clean my shoes. That is how my brain works. So if I don't have a routine, if I don't have a structure, if I don't follow specific time blocks, put a timer on, force myself to sit there, I will almost like take ages to get something done, because I'll just move on all of these different things. And I'm talking about time blocks for when I wake up, okay, when I work, when I train, when I have my meals, my supplements as well, excuse the spelling there, the sleep, the priorities, everything is put in there. This is what mine looks like. Wake up 4 o'clock in the morning, have my water, have my coffee. Then I'll do my self-development from 4:30 to 5:30 for 1 hour. I'll take a break, I'll take the pup out. When you have this, it's like following the correct direction, right? Someone's gonna send you a message like, oh, are you meeting up with a friend or something? This is the location. You're like, okay, right, how long am I gonna get there? It's the same concept. Okay, you need to follow the step by step. That is how you stay in routine. This is how you get freedom. And if you're one of those people that are like, damn, like, this is so much, I don't want to do this, bro. This is what gives you freedom. This is what gives you freedom. Planning gives you freedom. I mean, think about it. If you don't plan your finances, will you ever have financial freedom? You just piss money away here. You don't know anything about investing. You don't know anything about budgeting. You will never gain financial freedom if you don't plan for it. Okay. That is where it's at. And this has helped me like in more than just fitness, more than just business, but it's also helped me in my relationships, because I'm a good boyfriend, but I'm a man, right? I sometimes forget about like I forgot about the anniversary the other day, and it's not that I forgot. I was so packed, and I had it on my old phone, which broke. I had that literally on the timer, and the time block, and the calendar, and then I got the new phone, and it didn't switch over because I've now moved everything to Google. Right, this is all Google Calendar, and since doing that, it obviously didn't shift over, and I get so caught up. Sometimes I don't even remember what day it is because I just follow up so locked in, and then she comes in to the room and she tells me, happy anniversary. And she brings me a gift. And I'm just like, oh, shit. Anyway, caused a lot of shit, caused a lot of problems. So this is exactly why this is the definition of freedom.
you don't need the shit, right? If you're busy with work, your clients are a priority. Like you're going to schedule when you have meetings with them, because if you don't, you're going to look like an idiot. Okay, you're going to lose money. You're going to lose status. People are going to think your reputation is messed up. You see, you don't want that. That is why planning equals freedom. Structure equals freedom. Next, you want to make sure that your routines are locked in. So that's your morning and evening routine. Guys, these are extremely crucial. This has been the biggest game changer, one of the biggest game changers for me. I used to just wake up sometimes at different times here, there. And remember, I've had the freedom to work from home. So being disciplined means like you have to be a lot more disciplined, because if you don't, you don't make sure that your clients are sorted, you don't make like money's not coming in, all of that. And I've been building. So if I don't keep myself accountable, if I don't set up a morning routine, I kind of like, okay, let me wake up 10 o'clock, have my cup of coffee. What am I doing today? No, I've got my morning routine and that's here. I put it in here as well. You see? And that morning routine sets me up. I've got a little bit of mindset when I have my cup of coffee. I sit outside and I ease into the day. Morning routine, cutting things out like your phone. But think about this. If you're someone that goes on your phone first thing in the morning and you wonder why you sometimes get extremely overwhelmed, you like wake up in a shitty mood, social media is just packed with so much like trigger stuff. Like I've seen stuff where animals get abused and I lose my shit and I'm just in such a pissed off mood for the rest of the day. Right. And if you look something at the news, like it's going to set your day up in a negative note. No, you need to stop that. You need to get into that day. I've got a client as well. I told him this exact method. Like we need to cut out the getting on the phone thing first thing, the mindless scrolling, all the bullshit. It's just dopamine at the end of the day. And we need to replace it with something else. He replaced it with gospel music. Right? He's his heart surgeon. He replaced it with gospel music. And he said since doing that, he's had a way more productive day, way more like positive day as well. So that is why that morning routine is so important. It also gets you in the flow state. Okay. So if you're doing your self-development first thing in the morning, that is why I do my development first thing in the morning, because when I do that, the things that I self-develop has got to do with mindset. It's got to do with building me as a character, me as a man, becoming that man that I step into. It gives me motivation. I implement my auto suggestion. So that gives me the drive. It reminds me of what my goals are, why they are so important to me. And then I go into that day because yes, it's normal to wake up sometimes with a little bit of self-doubt, right? Especially if you're building something. If you go, when I first started training, like I always question, like, am I doing this wrong? Should I be doing this instead? Like I spent years of trial by error. So there were times where I felt like shit, I want to give up. But my burning desire was too strong, right? I wanted that change so badly that I would have done whatever it took to get there. But I could have avoided so many years of just like trying this, it didn't work, trying the keto diets, trying the dirty bulks. Like it just ended up like holding me back at the end of the day. So that's why the morning routine is so important. You go into that day, just boom, knowing exactly what to do. Okay. Evening routine, preparation. This is what you prep for the night before. Evening routine. I will do what my tasks are the day before, the night before, so that I wake up not sitting there like wasting time. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. No, I know. Okay, this is structured. This is planned. Tomorrow at this time, I'm working on this. Like I'll do my self development. Then I'll do like a 4 hour building phase, which is going to be deep work. I'll maybe take a break after every 2 hours for 15 minutes, just so my brain can just freshen up. But those things are all structured. And since I've implemented this, man, I've been able to like stick to all of those boxes, not have that guilt around it, because I know that if I don't tick off those boxes, that I'm leaving progress on the table. Okay. And when you're someone that's extremely ambitious, you're someone that really wants to get the goals that you set out, which I know a lot of you guys are. I mean, you're watching this video, like it gives you guilt, because it's like when you go out and party, and you get absolutely wasted 4 o'clock in the morning, you come home, then the next 3 days you feel like shit and you're not as productive as you could be. And then you are just further away from where you should be, from your full potential, your full capability. Next, alarms. Okay, bro. I set alarms for everything. I set alarms for my meals. I set alarms for the times I need to do work. So, alarms for breaks. If I don't have these things, like I get so locked in, I get so caught up that shit, 3 hours have gone by. Okay, I haven't had my meal yet. There's been times before I did this, like it gets so late, and then I just haven't had. I've got like 2 meals left, and I'm so tired, and just don't feel like eating that I skip it, and I didn't want to do that because I want to stay consistent with everything. I can get into super deep work mode and then just not even realize that it's gone over. So I even set alarms for the breaks in between. This has been an absolute game changer. I had the exact same thing with one of my clients, Sunny. He was struggling, like he couldn't get the meals in. So that's another thing, right? With scheduling, you need to schedule when your meals are and set those alarms. After we did that, he said, bam, he's been able to stay so consistent and he's picked up 25 pounds of lean mass just because of that. Super simple, right? You can be very dedicated, you can be very motivated, but when you don't have these systems set up, it's not going to be working for you. Next, very important, prep. Guys, if you struggle to stay consistent to a meal plan, if you struggle to find the time to do all of the shit, prep your meals. Literally, all you need to do is weigh your food once to twice per week, every Sunday, every Thursday. You get that meal plan, you figure out what that meal plan is, right? This is what you're having for lunch. This is what you're having for dinner. All of the lunch meals, times that by 4. Okay. So if it's 200 grams of chicken breast, What are you going to do? Times 200 grams by 4 days. Okay, so that's 4 of your lunch meals. 800 grams, right? 800 grams. Boom. Put it in the pot, cook it, put them in containers. Finish, done. Then, same with the veggies, whatever rice, all of that stuff. I literally have all of my like electrolyte drinks. I've got sparkling water. My eggs are like all prepped so that I go into that day just like barely spending time cooking, barely spending time cleaning. Right? The only meal that I'll cook it will be breakfast. The rest, I just take it out of the fridge. I put it in the microwave. I heat it up, and I've heard, yeah, like that's why I've been able to stay consistent because I got to work, dude. Take your food to work with you if it's that important to you. Okay, take your food to work. And then another thing is with regards to the meals, you also need to figure out like you need to come up with a backup plan. So I've got a lot of my clients that take their clients out for like lunches and dinners. So you must always have that plan as well in the back to ensure that you know exactly what you're going to be eating when you go out. Okay, like don't go completely off track. If you have steak in your meal plan, you have chicken breast in your meal plan, have that, right? Put that like don't go get McDonald's, don't get a burger, don't get lasagna. Just get what you have where it's very close to your meal plan. That way you still do what you need to do and you stay on track. Very simple. Okay. So when you prep your meals, everything changes. Guys, this has been an absolute game changer for me. Now, environment, prep your environment. If you someone who struggles to be productive, it can have a lot to do with your environment. If you're sitting at a scattered desk, your brain doesn't know how to focus correctly. There's too much distractions. Set up your environment, make the things visible, right? Something that I really struggled with is I struggled with, taking supplements. So I also prepped them. I put them in containers. I separated them. We're kind of jumping around here, but let me just get through there. So let's say supplements, same thing with prepping. Okay. Containers, I've got morning ones and I've got evening ones. This completely eliminates the fact that because I take a lot of supplements. I've got vitamin D3, I've got omegas, I've got multivitamins, I've got all of these different types of supplements. And if I have to go and put each little supplement and count them, I will lose my mind every single day. So I sit down, I've literally got for 4 weeks in advance, evening and morning, which I will then go sit down and take 5 minutes to separate them all, boom, sorted. Then the next thing I struggled with was staying consistent with them, even when I packed them, because I just couldn't. It's one thing that I really dislike is taking supplements, but they are very important and they are going to, help you. They are going to advance you at the end of the day because you need those omega-3s, you need those fatty acids. There's a lot of things that our bodies don't have, which we need, right? That's exactly what they call supplements, especially if you want to build muscle tissue. Like you think that you're having enough protein, majority of you guys really are not having enough protein. This is why you do that. So I had to literally put this on my bedside table so that I know, oh shit, anytime I go to sleep, I'm going to take my evening supplements so I don't forget that. And it's worked like an absolute bomb, right? So that's setting up your environment, putting the things in your environment that you need to remember. Put your gym bag on the couch before you leave. Keep it in your car so you can't say, oh shit, I forgot my gym bag. I'm not going to train today. Little things like this. Having even prepping your environment in terms of if you want to stay more consistent, you don't want to steer away, steer of course, and you've got someone who's with a sweet tooth, you need to set up your environment to work for you. Don't have a cookie jar sitting out there. Ask your wife, ask your significant other, please put the sweets away out of sight, because as soon as you see that, it literally triggers the response to go and eat it. Okay. So if it's not visible, if it's not there, it's less likely that you're going to do it. Okay. You're not going to go drive all the way to the damn shops to go get a sweet. That act of laziness usually overcomes the fact of, the craving, which is, by the way, also just because you're not hungry. You crave it because you're looking for a dopamine spike because of a much deeper reason, right? I've worked with guys who have issues with like comfort problem with food. Anytime they feel stressed, overwhelmed, any type of emotion, they go to food because it gives you a quick dopamine spike, which gives you very quick satisfaction, which disappears in just a little bit of time. And what we've done is we've rewired that to because now they are associating that dopamine spike from the sugar with the stress relief. Okay, it's the same with smoking. A lot of people smoke for the stress relief. So now it's associated, but there's so many ways that you can do that. Going for a 10-minute walk when you get frustrated, when you get upset, when you get angry, put some music in, you get the same kind of effect. You just need to rewire that. Okay. Designated areas, cooking. You go to a designated area when you work. Okay. Try not work in the kitchen. You might get distracted. Try not work when your kids are playing. Try not work when you got any types of distractions. When you have a designated area, you fully lock in. You go to the gym, right, to go and train. I've had I used to train. We had a place in our building when I lived in an apartment building, and they had a gym downstairs. And to me, it was always difficult to train because I enjoy having people around me training, doing it. It helps me lock in. So if there's no one in the gym, I kind of just mess around. That is why I designate specific areas, removing the friction. That is now taking away the cookie jar. Okay, that is if you're trying to quit smoking, remove the cigarettes, remove any sort of friction. So guys, this is the 3x3 rule. Now I've given you all the source. I've given you the roadmap. You need to actually go and implement this. After this video, literally steal this, screenshot this, write it out, do it. implement it. I promise you, your life will change. Okay. Your productivity, your discipline, and your consistency will 100x. Mine has. The reason why I'm able to stay as disciplined as I am, as consistent as I am, because I set things up to work for me. Okay. That is it. Remember, failing to plan is literally planning to fail. Every single one of you guys are capable of absolutely destroying your 2026 goals. And every single one of you guys will, if you set things up for you. Make it work, baby. Come on. Gents, let's kill 2026. Let's start getting into the momentum of this already. If you're not sure about any of these things in detail, send me a DM. I will put the link somewhere in the description here. But guys, let's get it. Let's actually make 2026 your year. No more procrastinating. No more bullshitting yourself. Only winning. Let's go, boys. Love you all. Let's go.